All right, we are live. All right, thanks everyone, and welcome to another Corporate Underground. In this episode, we've been inspired by Tia. Tia's decided to say, "F technology, I'm going to go sit under a box." So we want to find out what she's going on and why you're doing it, and then we're going to talk about in general because a digital detox is, I even believe, important, and it is, I believe, in ways of doing it in everyday life. But I'm very keen to hear about the journey that Tia is about to go on and why she's going on and what she hopes to get out of it. So let's get straight into it. Tia, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Jesus, right. Like a couple of months ago, I really felt as if I just wanted to, have a bit more of this space. I just wanted to have space, like physical space. And then it was like mental space and then emotional space. And then my body just wanted to be in a big body of space. And before I know it, I've committed to 3 months of just giving myself that. And so it's almost as if it's a detox from everything, not just a digital detox, but it feels very much like I'm giving myself that time to be present for whatever it is that wants to emerge. And it's such a non-tier thing to do, right? Like I have, pre-COVID, I had an entire year mapped out. I knew what flights I was going to be taking, what conferences and events and projects and work that I would be doing. And this is like, I have no idea. And COVID has sort of, helped me do that. I would never think about a week ahead without my schedule. I have zero schedule. I have nothing in the diary.
Is that like a scary feeling to like literally not have that though?
It's such an interesting stepping into not knowing. I'm the type of person who likes to know everything, and I'm just curious about things. But equally, with that curiosity is sort of mapping things and organizing things, and everything has strategy, and it's all part of the grand master plan for Replenish Earth or Corporate Underground, and everything is directional. And this isn't about directional. It kind of reminds me of the egg and the dart, and much of the coving around the corners of rooms, you tend to find this egg and dart description design. And it's often representative of the male, the masculine, and the female. And so this kind of directional arrow about like, you need to kind of know where you're going if you're an arrow. And I feel very much like an arrow before this. And the egg is about that expansion, right? It's about not having a particular direction and outcome, but having an expansive, presence. And I feel this, almost shifting in me from maybe my more masculine energy into maybe my more feminine energy.
Okay. So is this like you're very controlled. You've got like a lot of things that you plan out, and it's always like if we ever do anything on Corporate Underground, you want to know the topic, you go and do the research. I'm a little bit more like, oh, let's just see what happens. Tony's in between. These sort of things happen. So this came from a long period of time of you building this up. Then COVID came along and it's cleaned your diary out, if you like. So it's allowed you to be a lot more spontaneous and allow you to take a little bit more control over things where you were in control, but out of control because you were doing everything for everybody else and not for yourself. Now this comes in and you get a spontaneity opportunity to be able to do whatever you want to be able to do. But in the UK, there's a lockdown. So you've chosen to sort of like look at this why, because it gives you more control over who you are. Is it a time thing in your life? Is it a job thing? Or is it just sort of like you looking at you going, hey, I want something different because it wasn't working?
Yeah, thank you for asking those questions. I feel, very much like there have been these nudges, and maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I got this kind of sensation that that I might be writing something about the blockchain, and then it wasn't very clear, but as time progressed, it felt as if there were more elements of this picture that were coming into view. And I want to call them almost like little nudges, and then, oh, it's that way. And I just get this kind of intuitive feeling that I'm going to be doing something. So I ended up, co-authoring a book on the blockchain, taking a couple of courses, setting up the London Blockchain Foundation, doing a number of these mini activities because I felt as if I was being nudged into them. And then, you know, literally a couple of years ago, I also, in the middle of sleeping at 3:30 or something in the morning, just bolt upright from my dream state. And I just had the name of what I was doing. And it's called protocol.earth. So it's a very bizarre experience of sensing and feeling. So I feel as if there's a reason that, you know, I want to go into this space. And this, you know, whatever it is that I'm going to be writing, again, I have no outcome. I'm just giving myself 3 months. And if nothing happens and I just do some painting, that's absolutely fine. But equally, like this morning, I was like up at 5:30 and, you know, kind of meandered upstairs and was watching the sunrise. And I just felt as if this is exactly what I want to be doing. It's less the thinking and it's more the being.
So you're about to go on a 3-month detox. So you're basically, from today, you're basically no Facebook, no Instagram. I mean, I guess everybody knows what social media is, so none of that. What else? What are you looking to do? I mean, you've emptied your house of books. You've had TV. What are the things you're sort of blanking out?
I've never had a TV, but yes, I effectively got rid of all of the things that remind me of this more contained time of my life, where I feel as if I've been somewhat box ticking without realizing that I have been box ticking. You know, the accreditations to the awards to the travel to the doing bit. And what's different right now is, you know, yes, I might go on social media. You know, it's not that social media or any kind of media is bad. It's just my use of it that I really want to be able to explore, because I want to be documenting it, right? So I am, you know, likely to put, you know, cameras around and I don't know, just go for my day without being specific about that. And, you know, I had a lovely chat with Tony last week as well. And we were exploring, what does it mean to create content and or otherwise document. And I feel that that's exactly where I am. I just want to document the process and the practice that is emerging. So more of the, I wanted to, like mindless practice is movement and being much more present in my body. And I feel last couple of years, I've done quite a bit of that, you know, doing more yoga, doing more meditation, spending time doing Kipassanas and Vipassanas, and having more time in silence in nature, in the wild. Replenish Earth is very much the child, right, of being together with indigenous tribes in Colombia with the Arahuacos, to traveling around the world and having these moments where I feel like I've been communing with the planet. And everywhere that I've been, like a mini pen drive, I've been uploading and downloading my experiences and, you know, meeting people and meeting places. And I feel somewhat like Paulo Coelho's Alchemist, where at the end of this crazy adventure, he comes back home to the tree, to his home, and feels as if it was here all along. So it's less about, I mean, it's great, you know, COVID stopped me traveling. You know, for 15 years, if not more, I have been on the move. I mean, you know, when in 2005 and 6, I was sending messages to my family on Skype, you know, that they weren't too comfortable using that kind of technology and medium to be in touch like we are today. You know, back in the day, 2007, when I first started using Facebook, people weren't comfortable to be in touch with each other like that. It was all very nascent and very new. And what I feel right now is that I don't really need to use technology to do what I'm doing. There are moments where I can literally think about somebody and they've sent me a message, and all I needed was just, you know, a little moment just thinking about them. I didn't need to send them a message. It just so happened so they probably picked up whatever vibe I had and responded back.
But it's interesting, isn't it, that we've got to take a break from media, or you're taking 3 months on, and we're so interested in this because there's so much content that's coming in. I mean, Tony, you create content. You create a lot of things that go into the media. do you ever feel like that you need to take a break from this, or what is the cause of actually allowing it? Because 20 years ago, people would take a sabbatical and they wouldn't look at their phone. You know, I know for an absolute fact that if Facebook and went on my phone, I'd never go to a computer and look at them. It's because it's the instant access that's so easy to be able to see that. I mean, LinkedIn, all these things I wouldn't use nearly as much because it's not as contactable. But you make the content, Tony. You're creating a lot of the stuff. You're seeing what businesses want and what people want. And what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm a unique blend that, yes, I'm in digital marketing, but I don't actually like to be too much on these sorts of things personally. And I'm quite good at setting boundaries. And this is interesting things that I do that I tell people, and I'm like, well, there's something wrong. Like I'm in advertising. I specialize in search advertising. So I like to think that we're not as annoying as others because we get in front of people when they're looking for something instead of just bothering them when they're mindlessly searching through Facebook. But my point is that so when I started my business, I started all by myself. It was just me. And I also very quickly, I think within a year, we had a young family. So I very quickly wanted to set that boundary. Plus, when you're working in micro businesses, they don't understand boundaries because they don't have them in their lives. So if you're working with a small business, they do all their book work and all their thinking and planning after hours because that's when they've got the time. Where I didn't have that mentality. I'm like, no, it's 9 to 5 because if I had a job, it'd be 9 to 5. In fact, 5 o'clock was when I would turn on the radio and listen to the traffic report and be happy that I was only earning 10 grand that year in my business because I didn't have to sit in the traffic. So that was my, it's worth it, baby, you know, because I just couldn't handle traffic. I'll just sit there and listen to that. But so I had 2 phones back in the day before you could have multiple phones on one phone. And I had that so I could have Tony's number and then the work number. And then as phones got smart, then I had 2 smartphones so I could have work email and work social media notifications because I would just then turn that phone off or put it on silent at the end of the day. But now, like, obviously there's more distractions. And this is why I found it interesting when we were chatting to you, because you were getting rid of books, and why books aren't bad. The books you're getting rid of represent something, you know, and this is it. Like we've got things in our lives that are taking more than they give. And while we don't mind if they take from us sometimes, we've got to make sure we keep it in check. So how do we keep it in check? Well, start taking control. So with my phone, I don't have certain social medias installed on my phone. If I want to use them, I need to go to a desktop, because if you go on a desktop, you're there with a purpose. You're going to do it, get it done, where I don't need them notifying me and all that sort of jazz. I also have multiple profiles on my phone. So I've got Work Tony, Personal Tony. Work Tony turns off at 5 o'clock. So if you're emailing me to my work email or my work SMS or even LinkedIn or whatever other notifications, I won't hear them after hours unless I actually go look for it. And even my personal phone at 8:30 turns off from all notifications except for starred people, which are like, you know, family in case they're dying or something like that. Matt used to be starred till he kept shooting me SMSs at 2 in the morning. And I went, you bastards, you know, so he's off the list. But that's very simple. And at 9 o'clock, my phone goes black and white so that it's not enticing, you know, because they're saturated colors for a reason, people. That's why everything looks better on a phone, because it's not natural colors. It's there to stimulate your brain. So these simple things, like I don't believe in cold turkey, but it took me a while to like build all these things, having the separate numbers, having the separate profiles, having certain apps turned off or deleted or only notify certain things. Like it takes time, but that's because the app developers obviously want to make their money. I mean, magazines and newspapers are spending all their time trying to figure out how to get people to spend more time reading a paper. It's no different. It's just a different medium. So they're not more evil. It's just it's just easy to get in front of you more often. So you need to be a bit smarter in how you do it. And if you tell Facebook and Google to bring in laws not to ping you or personalize data or whatever it is, like basically not get you wanting to use their apps, then someone else will just rise up in their place. Like, so it's always someone's going to be fighting for our attention no matter what. So start being smarter about where you give your attention is probably my focus.
Well, look, that's very true. I mean, like I've got a 5 and a 3-year-old, and they fight for my attention all the time. And you go to an event now, and I'm very good because I'm very focused. When I'm doing something, I'm very focused on it. A phone or the rest of it doesn't affect me. But you see a lot of people stand there and they are looking at their phone while they're not watching their kids swim, or they're looking at their phone while they're not what. Now, those moments are going to be gone. Whatever you're looking at is minute in the happiness of your son or daughter looking up at you and seeing you involved in their life. And you see kids looking up all the time and their parents are not paying any attention to them. So they're learning to that continuation of that breakup of the focus. Where should my focus be? It's very difficult to turn around to your son and say, get off of gaming if you are always on that device in the morning when he's trying to get your attention for school, or in the afternoon, or whatever it is. You've lost all ability to say, well, that's you and that's me, because they learn from us. So a lot of this media, I agree with both of you. You do it how you want to be able to do it. But don't be, I think with COVID, we really learned about, we used to blame teachers or schools for having the kids the way they are. And now for a year, particularly in Melbourne, we worked out, well, if you've raised arsehole kids, you've raised arsehole, you've done that. You've got to deal with the outcome of that rather than sending it off to a school. Now, I don't think, like dogs, I don't think kids, thanks for that. You've got a commitment from Cash. I don't believe that there are bad dogs. I don't believe that there are bad kids. I just think you take a stimulus from different things and you're attracted to different things. Some kids are very into excitement and stimulated by jumping off a cliff or jumping off a building. They're going to take that to a more extreme. They need that adrenaline. So it's all about channeling it where you're getting. I'm just really interested in about you having to remove all those stimuli before you start adding it back in. I mean, Tony was talking about taking these things out from his life in regards to and making law. And Tony, it'd be great if you could put a list of those things up so that we could actually see some of the things that you're doing. Because you're in the industry, I hadn't thought about half of those things on actually how to withdraw a bit of that. And Tia, we're going to follow you a little bit through and get at the end of 3 months to find out what that is, what the outcome of this was. Because for 3 months, that's quite a big commitment. I don't know whether most people could go through that. But I mean, I ask one more question on this before we sort of move more into social media. But why 3 months? Why not a month? Why not 2 months? Why not 6 months? You've chosen 3 because of what reason?
Yeah, it's a really it's really interesting. When I first thought about, what I'd like to do, so I wanted to give myself space, I wanted to give myself time, I wanted to give myself full attention, and this wasn't, a purposeful, I'm going to switch off for everything else. This isn't I've had too much of something, therefore I've got to take it away from me. It's I'm actually really comfortable with my life. I have a brilliant, connection with all of the people in my life. I'm not trying to get away from anything or anyone or any place. I'm actually just going to be less about the taking away from me and more about the giving to myself. The 3 months it feels like such a long time. Maybe a year, like 2 years ago, 3 months would be unbelievable time, in workspace movement, etc. But 3 months feels like a natural step. Now, this is not to say that 3 months don't turn into 3 years, man. This could turn into 5 years. I've given myself the full opportunity to feel comfortable to do that, and I've got full agency over it. It's not as if somebody's going to turn around and say, right, Tia, it was really nice for you to have this time. Now, do you mind? Get back to work. I don't have that. And I'm lucky that I don't, because my team are phenomenal. And, part and parcel of me stepping out of the central ego of Replenish Earth is, to move aside whilst the cause is what everybody's working for and not Tia. And equally, that sort of stepping out of the way is a process of, not that that's the reason, but it's, simultaneous to what's happening.
So I mean, like, because 3 months is a season. 3 months is also what I've found to be, for me, if I do anything, if I do something for 3 months, then I'll carry it on. If it's shorter than that, I don't have repetition. It's like if I go 3 months and I go to the gym, then 3 months it stays for 2 or 3 years, or 3 months if I start eating healthy, it breaks through to that. So I just thought maybe it was because it was like that seasonal sort of experience where it's actually apart, but it was just more just
maybe it might become a season. Maybe it's going to be less than that, more than that. And that's the beauty of it, is that I haven't put a container on it. It just so happens to be 3 months. It felt, like that was the good thing to say. Like, it's kind of like, it's sort of like, oh, the temperature is like 25 degrees here. It's kind of like, oh, the break is going to be about 3 months. But there was nothing like, hard and fast about it. And I feel that, a big takeaway from me just at the front end of this, where I'm about to go into this space, is trusting, is stretching my trust muscle. That's what I'm doing. I'm trusting myself even more than I have before. I'm learning more about myself. I'm loving myself more than I have before. I'm even more confident. I feel like a superhuman sometimes, and even more so right now. I feel that, the energy that's coming through me, and waking up at 5:30, boom, and being, present to what's around me is such a blessing. I feel blessed. I'm grateful, because I think in this gratitude, you can't be grateful and hoarding at the same time, right? Like the more grateful you are, the less you hold on to. And I feel very strongly that everything has got a story in my life. All the things, possessions that I've held in my life have been there from something or someone or some way. And I'm grateful for it. And that's why I let it go.
Is there anything you're going to have a problem that you've actually had a problem with letting go? Is there anything that you're not worried, but you're thinking, I'm going to miss this? Is there anything along those lines?
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because, I was looking at many of my economics books and marketing and like, I might need these. These are like Bibles. What do you mean I'm going to let this go? Like, it was fascinating, because that defined me for a really long time.
It was a period of time.
Look at these things. A period of my time was defined by the way that this thinking was. And this is not to say that I might not continue that thinking. I just feel very much independent of it right now.
Okay.
How you're tackling this very uniquely, because I find that some people, when they want to do anything, they set like a challenge, right? Where you haven't got hard and fast rules. You're sort of going off intuition of what needs to be restricted and when it will be allowed. How are you going to keep that in check over the 3 month period to make sure you just don't end up back where you started?
And that is the challenge in some ways. And when I first thought about it, I considered just completely going offline, just switching my computer off and my phone's off, letting everybody know that I was going to be okay. This is my location. I don't even have a telephone. None of my phones or anything in my life make any noise. They just never have. All notifications have always been off for me. And it's very much been because I wanted to, right? Because I wanted to go on my phone. But yes, this is definitely something I'm inquisitive about. That, on the one side, I feel like I am making these choices. And on the other side, I feel like I'm not making these choices. I don't know what people are going to be sending to me. I mean, I've been so gifted with a circle, like I call it my wisdom circle, people in my life that just get it. And they'll send me little pointers. Like this morning, I've got this incredible meditation music from my friend Turquoise. And she just felt me out. It was amazing. Like yesterday, I got this incredibly beautiful birthday gift, which was Belle from Brazil putting together a mini video. She was like, wait, I'm just going to give you a little surprise. Wait. And then all of a sudden, this person that I don't even know comes on the video and sings a song that's unique for me for my birthday. And, these moments of weaving, I feel as if I've done a lot of that sort of open, travel the world type thing. I feel as if I haven't really woven between the spaces of these experiences. So maybe this is a huge reflection time. Maybe I just want to sit and just want to write. Maybe I just want to sing it out, play it out in a musical instrument. Maybe just want to move. My body wants to move, definitely. So it's this balancing act, Tony. It's like on the one side, I want to be in movement. The other side, I'm like, I could keep my eyes closed for an entire day and I'd be happy with it.
Yeah. And that's the unique part about it.
Look, this is something that, I've seen, and we did speak about this privately. I don't know whether we've spoken about it outside of this, but it was an amazing journey through Corporate Underground. It was something that held me together to be able to have these discussions with AJ, Finn, and Tia and Tony and you guys. The ability to be able to just have these conversations, and it wasn't for anybody. I know that. We did this because it was interesting for us and allowing us to sort of connect. But I've seen real growth. I don't mean growth isn't like, but a change is probably a better way. We all sort of met and we knew each other or knew of each other and different things. But it was the start of COVID and there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of stuff going on. And through that, I've watched everybody get happier. We've all got happier. I can't say that outside of our group or what's going on, but AJ I've seen get a lot more relaxed. Finn Bar I've seen get a lot more sort of connected. Tia, I've seen you get a lot happier about really each step, letting things go that don't seem to be important for you. So this is a really interesting part for us to sort of leave that part for you and come back, because you were heading on this journey a year ago. You had so much going on. And what you're doing is actually ending it in a perfect place. Tony, I've seen absolute growth from you. Or again, more connectedness about letting the stress go, to let things actually be, to actually accept a lot more. And I'd like to think a lot of this is happening in Corporate Underground, but also around all of us, because this has been a simulant point once a week where we're able to be quite focused on us, really, to be able to focus on you. Each of us is focused on each other, but in doing that, we've been able to focus on us and to help all those little pieces pull together. Now, we've had some great people that have commented and different people, and that was great. When we set this up, we basically said if we could help one person. We've done more than that, but it's been really, really enjoyable. And I like the break that we had to be able to work out how we're going to do and what the next steps are going to be. It's all going to change. But Tia, I've really noticed you sort of heading towards this point. I didn't really realize it at the time. Each of these steps came together. And Tony, it was the same with you. But if you look at that, I think it's been a really great journey. And I want to thank you guys for being part of that and helping me to actually sort of also realize a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. I can actually be of a lot more help to people individually. Where I used to work in like companies and large groups, I now work individually with people, and I've noticed massive change, because you are so much more than what you do. Right? You are so much more.
Yeah, sorry, Matt, but I find it like what's interesting, and this relates to I feel why T is also doing it at this point, is when things get better in any part of your life, whether you're talking about business or just your personal, your mindset. When you start getting things sorted, you get this little high of like everything's great, and then you start to get the energy and mindset and capability to start tackling things that you never thought you would, or trying things that you never thought you would. And I feel like this is one of those things. It's like, so yes, timing's there and situation, but I also feel as you grow within yourself, you feel strong enough to take on new things and discuss new things and even fix things that you didn't think would be fixable or worth fixing or needed fixing, until you go, you know what, I'm in such a good place that I think this is one area of my life, business or whatever, that I want to actually work on. And whether that's an easy decision or a hard decision, you only do it if you get in the right place to even attempt it. And I feel like that's what's going on because of all the growth that's happened.
Oh, that's exactly how I feel. It's interesting. A year ago, when we were starting Corporate Underground and really stepping into many of the questions that we're all asking, independent of each other, but coming together for a dialogue, right? For me, this wisdom circle has just been such a delight to be able to not clinically, but observe what's going on, like really what's going on. And we're in different countries. We've actually never met in person. We've got an incredible amount of intimacy for people that are on the digits, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah.
Well, look,
Yeah.
that's a big benefit of this kind of social grouping. You wouldn't have had, you just mentioned before, you got Brazil, you've got all these people that you're staying in contact with, which would have been a letter. So there are some really good things. So that leads us to our next episode next week, which is social media, good or bad. So Tia, I want to thank you so much for being part of this. I want to wish you a lot of luck. Not that you're going to need it. And it's going to be really interesting. In fact, you've raised a couple of things today, even made my brain think about, I'm not going to take 3 months off, but there's definitely a lot of stuff I don't need that I can start to let go of. I mean, it might not be any of my T-shirts from, old concerts, but, there's a few things I know my wife will help me get rid of. So... But thank you very much, Tia. Thanks, Tony. It's been a great.
Thank you. We'll end this
Thank
and
you.
we'll catch everyone in the next one. Thank you.
See ya.